The first question says that Hala travels from London to Marseille by train. She must change trains in Paris. The journey from Paris to London takes 2 hours and 28 minutes, and the journey from Paris to Marseille takes 3 hours and 30 minutes. The local time in Marseille and Paris is 1 hour ahead of the local time in London. Complete the timetable for Hala's journey. So she's arriving in Paris at 16:50, and the journey from London to Paris takes 2 hours and 28 minutes. So if we subtract this from 16:50, that's going to give us 2, 3, and 14:32. So now Marseille and Paris is 1 hour ahead of the local time in London, which means 14:32 would be 13:32, 1 hour less. And over here, she's departing at 19:31, and the journey takes 3 hours and 30 minutes. So 19:31 plus 3 hours and 30 minutes is 1, 6, 12, 1, 22. Add 60 minutes over here because your minutes cannot be greater than 60. So it's going to be 23:01. And that is your answer. The reason why we're not reducing 1 hour from Marseille arrival time is because Marseille and Paris are in the same time zone. Whereas for London, it was 1 hour less compared to Paris and Marseille. And work out how long Hala was in Paris before the train to Marseille departs. So 16:50, 19:31. From 16:50, she goes to 17:50, so that's 1 hour. Then she goes to 18:50, that's another hour. And then from 18:50, it's going to 19:31. So if you find the minutes between 18:50 and 19:31, 10 minutes from 18:50 to 19, then that's going to be 31 more minutes. So that's going to be 2 hours and 41 minutes. 1 hour from this, 1 hour from this, 10 minutes from 18:50 to 19, and from 19 to 19:31 is 31 minutes. So 2 hours and 41 minutes in total. The exchange rate between dollars and pounds is $1 equals to 0.75 pounds. The exchange rate between dollars and euros is $1 equals to R euros. Hala changes 250 pounds into euros, and she receives 290 euros. Calculate the value of R. So first, we know that $1 equals to 0.75 pounds. So 1 pound will equal to 1 over $0.75. So to convert 250 pounds into dollars first, we'll do 250 times 1 over 0.75, which is basically $333.3. Now that we know what 250 pounds in dollars is, we need to use the 290 euros to find the value of R. $1 is equal to R euros. So 1 euro is going to equal to 1 over R dollars. So to convert 290 euros into dollars, we will do 290 times 1 over R, which is 290 over R dollars. So this 290 over R dollars is the same as 333.3, because when she gave 250 pounds to convert into euros, the 250 pounds equals to $333.3. And that 250 pound gave her 290 euros, which means all these three quantities are the same in value, but they're in different currencies. So 333.3 equals to 290 over R. R equals to 290 divided by 333.3, and that is equal to 0.87. So that is your value of R. Joseph books a holiday for 3 people. The holiday costs $420 per person, and Joseph pays a deposit of 20% of the total cost of the holiday. Calculate the amount Joseph pays as the deposit. So he's booking the holiday for 3 people, and per person cost is $420. So we do 420 times 3 first to find the total cost, which is going to be $1,260. He's paying 20% of the total cost. So 20% of the total cost is going to equal $252. So that is the amount that Joseph is paying as the deposit. As the question says that Joseph is paying a total of 85.68 for airport parking for 8 days. So cost of parking for 1 day would be 85.68 divided by 8. $10.71. Then it says this price, which is this, includes a reduction of 15% of the full price for booking early, which means this cost is equal to 85% of the full price. So we can use this equation to find the full price for parking for 1 day, which is going to be 10.71 times 100 divided by 85. The reason why I wrote 85 over 100 is because there's a 15% reduction in the full price. 10.7 is basically 85% of the full price. So full price is going to be 10.71 times 100 divided by 85, which is going to give us $12.6 as the full price. So once again, he's paying $85.68 for 8 days. So the cost for 1 day would be 85.68 divided by 8, which is 10.71. Then they mentioned that this price includes a reduction of 15% of the full price for booking early, which means this 10.71 is 85% of the full price. So to find the full price, you put 10.7 equal to 85% of the full price, and then calculate the answer. Question 2 says Marco grows 2 types of tomato plants, type A and type B. He counts the number of tomatoes growing on each tomato plant. The result of type A plants are shown in the table. Calculate the mean number of tomatoes per plant. So this is your F value, this is your X value. Mean has the formula of sigma Fx over sigma F. So what we'll do is for sigma Fx, we multiply the X value with the corresponding frequency and then add the result to the next one. So we're going to add these products, and that is going to be our numerator. And this will be divided by the sum of frequency. So that's going to be 5 plus 2 plus 7 plus 3 plus 2 plus 1, which is 378 divided by 20. And that's going to give us 18.9 as the mean number of tomatoes per plant. Then it says calculate the range. So for the range, we look at the maximum and the minimum value of the X points. Minimum value is 17 and maximum is 22, which means our range is going to be the difference of the minimum and maximum values. That is 22 minus 17, and that equals to 5. That is your answer. The mean number of tomatoes per plant for type B plants is 17.1 and the range is 8. Make 2 comments comparing the number of tomatoes growing on type A and type B plants. Type A, our range is 5 and our mean is 18.9. So for type A, the mean value is bigger. So which means that type A has more potatoes per plant. Type A has a higher mean, which means it has more tomatoes per plant. And since the range is less for type A, that means that your number of plants, that means that number of tomatoes per plant are more consistent. So always remember that the value of range comments on your consistency, and the value of mean comments on like how much product is like being produced. So if your range value is small, that means there's less difference between the maximum and minimum value, which means the results are more consistent. If the range value, like the difference between the maximum and the minimum value is very high, that means your results are more inconsistent. And for the mean, if your mean value is higher, that means you're obviously producing more product. If your mean value is lower, that means you're producing less product. Mark also grows strawberries. He records the masses m grams of 120 of his strawberries. The frequency table shows the results. Draw a cumulative frequency diagram to represent these results. To plot the cumulative frequency graph, we'll first find the cumulative frequency. Cumulative frequency is found by adding each consecutive frequency value. So we start with 15, then we do 15 plus 38, which is going to give us 53. Then we do 53 plus 45, which is going to give us 98. Then we do 98 plus 17, which is going to give us 115. And then we do 115 plus 5, which equals to 120, which is the same value as your total frequency given over here. To cross-check if your cumulative frequency values are correct, always match your final answer with the total frequency given in the question. If those values are the same, that means your cumulative frequency values are correct. So now that we have the cumulative frequency values, we're going to plot these on the cumulative frequency graph and see what our graph looks like. So when you're plotting the class intervals, we always take the maximum value. So X values are going to be the maximum values of the intervals, and the Y values are going to be our cumulative frequency. It's going to be 10, 15. Then it's going to be 15, 53. After that, 20, 98. Then 25 and 115. And last point is 30 and 120. So let's plot these now. So 30, 120 is this one. 25 and 115. Basically, 115 is going to be in the middle of this. And that's your 25. So that's your point. Then 2098. That is this. This one. And 25 and 115. 115 Sorry, 15 and 53. 53 is going to be this. And 10, 15. So that is this. Now, if you create this, it's going to be like this. Wait, I missed the points. That's going to be minus this. This is a cumulative frequency graph. Now they're asking us, Marco uses strawberries with a mass greater than 21 grams to make jam. Use your diagram to find an estimate of the percentage of strawberries he uses to make jam. More than 21 grams is going to be this. So that's, I think, 103 for me. So we do 120 minus 103 divided by 120 times 100, which is going to give us 14.17%. So the question said that it's more than 21 grams. So you go at your x-axis and draw a line from 21 grams towards the cumulative frequency graph. Then you see what your corresponding cumulative frequency value is. So since it's talking about more than 21 grams, that means it's going to be all of these. This is the portion that we're focusing on. So for the corresponding number of values, subtract 103 from 120 to get the greater portion, which shows the more than 21 grams. And then we find the percentage of that. Question 3 says a cuboid has height of 8 centimeters and a square base of edge x centimeters. The volume of the cuboid is 60 centimeter cube. Show that the surface area 8 centimeter square of the cuboid is given by 2x squared plus 240 over x. So surface area would be 2 square bases plus 4 rectangular faces. So for the 2 square bases, just going to add brackets, that's easier. 2 times x squared, because the square base is x and x, plus 4 times the rectangular faces are h times x. So that's going to be h times x. That's 2x squared plus 4 each x. Now they said that the volume is 60 centimeters cube, which means volume is length times width times height for a cuboid. 60 equals to x times the height, with x squared times height equals to 60. So since the entire thing is in terms of x, that means we need to substitute the value of h in the surface area equation. That means h is going to be 60 over x squared. Plug that in over here. So that's going to be 2x squared plus 4 times 60 over x squared times x, which is going to give us 2x squared plus 240 over x. 4 times 60 is 240, and x divided by x squared is x. That is your answer. Then just complete the table for this equation. So we have to find the values of x equals to 5 and 6. So let's put x equals to 5 in the equation first. A equals to 2 times 5 squared plus 240 over 5. It's going to give us 50 plus 48, and that's 98. And then we put x equals to 6. That's going to be 2 times 6 square plus 240 divided by 6. That's going to give us 72 plus 40. That's equal to 112. So these are the two values of A for the given values of X. Next, they're probably asking us to plot these points. And yeah. 1 to 42, that is going to, God, the scale is so bad. So 5 boxes represents 20. So that means each small box is 4 units. So half of this is going to be 42. So this is our point. To 198. Before 92, 96. So half is over here. 398. Here and 492 minus 96. That's fair. Yeah, then 598, which is 612, 104, 108, and not last year, sorry, 7, 132, 24, 28, now lastly, 9, 158. Where was there's no line? 58. 8, 158. So it's gonna be finally, okay. So, oops. Now let me have a graph which looks very demanded because I got all the values wrong. Yeah, it's 128, so that's gonna be 124. It's over here. This is over here. Yep. Now it makes sense. So now time to connect these. It's going to be another numbers. Somewhat doable. Next, what they're asking us to do is find the minimum possible surface area of the cuboid. And the cuboid has surface area of 120. Find the length, height, and all of that. Okay. So 120 and the minimum possible. Minimum possible is going to come at the turning point. Our turning point is at 492, which means our minimum point is going to be 92. That is our minimum point. Because that's where the curve is turning. Before that, we have 398, and after that, we have 590, which means 492 is this is our minimum point. Then it was saying that 120 was the surface area, and we have to find the corresponding length, width, and height. So from 120, we go to the graph. And we find the corresponding x values. So what we get is 2x values. So in order for the height to be greater, we know that height has the formula of 60 over x squared. Okay. So if we pick the first value, which is approximately like 2.2. Let's use 2.2. This value. And over here, what we have is 6.1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I'm going to use 5. So it says height has to be greater than the x value. So if we use 6.5 at x equals to 6.5, height is 60 over 6.5 square, which is going to give us 0.42, which is not greater than the value of x, which means 6.5 will be dismissed. And we look at the value of x equals to 2.2. So x equals to 2.2, h would equal to 6 divided by 2.2 square. And that's going to give us 12.4, which is greater than the value of x. Hence, our x value is 2.2 and our h value is 12.4 for the surface area of 120 centimeter square. Question 4 says that we have a universal set of x, which is an integer in the range of 10 to 40. P shows that x is a multiple of 6, and Q shows that x is a square number. Write down the elements of P union Q. It's the union of set D and C, but an intersection of B complement. Because we don't include set B in this, but D and C are included. So it's going to be D union C intersection B complement. In a college, students study French, Spanish, and Arabic. A group of 25 students are asked which languages they study. Some of the results are shown in the Venn diagram. So as the information states, we have a total of 25 students. 7 students study French only. So that means 7 will come over here because these 7 people only study French. They don't study Arabic, they don't study Spanish. Then says 8 students study Arabic, which means it's going to include this as well. So if there are 8 students in total studying Arabic, 5 are already given. 4 of those students study French as well, and 1 student studies French and Spanish as well, which means if we do 8 minus 5, that's going to give us 3. So 3 kids only study Arabic, which means there's no intersection between Spanish and Arabic because they said that there are 8 people in total. 5 people have already been allotted in their subsequent parts. So that leaves us with 3 people which only study Arabic. Now, to find out if there's like an intersection between French and Spanish, we add up all the values and see what's the total. So if we do 7 plus 4 plus 1 plus 5 plus 3 plus 2, that's going to equal 22. And total we know is 25, which means this intersection does have a value. So x is going to be 25 minus 22, and that is 3. So the intersection between French and Spanish is 3. Two of the 25 students are selected at random. Find the probability that they both study Spanish only. So for Spanish only, it's 5 students. So since there are just 5 students who study Spanish only, the first probability of the student being selected would be 5 over 25. And now, since we've already selected one student, the probability of the second student selected would be 4 over 24. The reason why it's 4 over 24 because one student has already been selected from the group. So we have one less student now. So the total number of students who studies just Spanish is 4 now. And the entire universal set for the total, like for all the students, that is one less as well. So that's 24. Which can basically be simplified to 5 ones are 5, 5 fives are 25, 4 ones are 4, 4 6 are 24. So 1 over 5 times 6, which is 1 over 30. So once again, remember, you're taking 2 students from the set of just Spanish. So when you've taken 1 student, there's 1 less student in the entire set and the set for Spanish. 3 of the students are selected at random from those who study French. Now, it's not just French, it says French, which means people who study Spanish and Arabic, who study French, will be a part of this. So find the probability that only one of them also studies Arabic. French, Spanish, Arabic. So we have 7, 3, 4, 1, 3, 0, 5, and 2 over here. Okay, so they're saying 3 of the students are selected at random from those who study French. Find the probability that only one of them also studies Arabic. So French part is going to be this one. So only one of them studies Arabic. That's going to come from this. So what we will do is we will say kids who study Arabic and French is over here. So total students who study Arabic and French is 5. Okay. So first probability would be 5 over. Now total students who study French is 15. Total students who study French is the sum of 7 plus 4 plus 3 plus 1, which is 15. So first probability is going to be 5 over 15. Now that we have selected one student, for the second student, the probability would be 10 over 14 because there's one less student now. 5 over 15 is for French and Arabic, so this part over here. 10 over 14 is for French and Spanish. So if I just color code this is French and Arabic. This is French and Spanish. Okay. So now for the third person, that's going to be 9/13 because it says that only one of them also studies Arabic. So that's just going to be 5/15 for the Arabic part. Other two probabilities are going to be for the French part. So these two, 10/14 is for the first person being selected from French and Spanish, and 9/13 is the second person being selected from French and Spanish. Third person is from your French and Arabic. So this is your entire combination. So if we solve this, so you know that 5/15 can be simplified to 1/3. 10/14 can be simplified to 5/7. So that's going to be 5 times 9/3 times 7 times 13, which is 45/273. Now, they told us that they're going to select 3 of the students who are selected at random. So which means right now the combination that we gave is the first person they're picking is from the set of French and Arabic, and the other two are from French and Spanish. What we can also say is that the first person was French and Spanish, second was also French and Spanish, and third is French and Arabic. Another combination can be that the first is French and Spanish, then we have French and Arabic, and then again we have French and Spanish. So all these three combinations have the same probability. So what we will do is we will multiply 45/273 by 3 to have the total probability of the student, of the 3 students being selected who study French, but only one of them studies Arabic. So that is going to give us 45/91 as our final answer. So to summarize it, basically we started off with first saying how many students study French. So that's 15 students. Then we figured out how many students study French and Arabic. That is 5 students. So the probability of one of the students studying French and Arabic is going to be 5/15. Then the probability of the next student studying French and Spanish is going to be 10/14. Why 10/14? Because we already took one person from the entire set of people who study French. So there's one less person who studies French. Now, the third probability would be 9/13 because we already took one person from the Spanish and French part, and we previously took one person from French and Arabic. So that reduces the total number of people who study French from 15 to 13, and the total number of people who study French and Spanish becomes 9 instead of 10. Since there's no restricted order that the first person will study French and Arabic, the second person will study French and Spanish, and so on. So there are 3 different possibilities. The first person pick can be from French and Arabic, then the other 2 can be from French and Spanish. Second possibility is that the first 2 can be from French and Spanish, and the third is from French and Arabic. Third possibility is that you pick French and Spanish first, then you pick French and Arabic, and then lastly you pick French and Spanish again. Hence, we multiply 45/273 by 3 to get the final probability. Question 5 says a bag contains X 5-cent coins and Y 10-cent coins. There's a total of 130 coins in the bag. Write down an equation in terms of X and Y for the total number of coins in the bag. Since the X number of 5-cent coins and Y number of 10-cent coins, so total number of coins is going to be X plus Y equal to 130. Then the total value of the coins in the bag is 8.15. Write down an equation in terms of X and Y for the total value of the coins in the bag. So now we'll do 5X because 5-cent coins are X number and 10-cent coins are Y number. So 5X plus 10Y equals to the value, which is $8.15. But since these are in cents, We convert the dollars into cents by multiplying that by 100. That's going to be 815. So 5x plus 10y equals to 815 cents. Remember to convert the dollars into cents or just convert the cents into dollars, whichever way you're comfortable with. Then they're asking us to solve the two simultaneous equations to find the number of each type of point in the bag. So we have x plus y equals to 130 and 5x plus 10y equals to 815. These two equations are given, and what we're going to do is we're going to make x the subject in the first equation. So that's going to be x equals to 130 minus y. And now we're going to substitute the third equation in the second equation. I'm using substitution method over here, but you can also use elimination method, like whichever way you're comfortable with. There's no restriction on that. So that's going to be 5 times 130 minus y plus 10y equals to 815. 5 times 130 is going to be 650 minus 5y plus 10y equals to 815. Negative 5y plus 10y is 5y, and I take 650 to the other side. So it's going to be 815 minus 650, which is going to give us 165. So y would be 165 over 5, which is basically equal to 33. So 10-cent coins are 33. So for the x value, put this value in equation 3. So x equals to 130 minus 33, which is going to equal 97. So there are 97 5-cent coins and 33 10-cent coins. A machine makes 5-cent coins. It makes 720 coins per minute. The machine operates for 24 hours per day. Calculate the total value in dollars of the coins made by the machine in 300 days. Give your answer in standard form correct to 3 significant figures. Okay. So the machine is making 720 coins per minute. So and the machine is operating for 24 hours per day. So 1 hour has 60 minutes. 24 hours has 24 times 60, which is 1,440 minutes. So if he's making 720 coins per minute, so that's going, total coins is going to be 720 times 1440, which is this. Now it says find the total value. So 5-cent coin. So 5 cent in dollars is going to be 5 over 100, which is 0.05. So you multiply the total coins by what the coins are. So 0.05 times our total coins, which will give us the value of these coins. Now, the question also says that we have to find the total value of coins in dollars made by the machine in 300 days. So now for 300 days, we will multiply this entire value by 300, which is this in dollars. So to convert this in standard form, correct to 3 significant figures, first you move the decimal 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 places to the left. And 3 significant figures would be 1.56 times 10 to the power of 7. So this is your answer in standard form, correct to 3 significant figures. So to summarize it all, we started off with writing what the value of 1 hour is in minutes, which is 1 hour equals to 60 minutes. Then we converted 24 hours into minutes, which is 24 times 60. After that, we found the total number of coins that were made in like 24 hours. After that, we found the value of those coins because each coin is for 5 cents. So in dollars, that's $0.05. So we multiplied $0.05 with the total number of coins, which gave us the value of coins that were being produced in 1 day. So value of coins in 1 day. So to find the value of coins in 300 days, we multiply the 1 day value with 300, and that gives us this answer. And we converted this into standard form, correct to 3 significant figures. And we're done with that. Then part C says the diameter of a 5-cent coin is 21.2 millimeter, correct to the nearest 0.1 millimeter. The diameter of a 10-cent coin is 17.9 millimeters, correct to the nearest 0.1 millimeters. Martin makes a line of 10 5-cent coins and a line of 10 10-cent coins. Calculate the upper bound of the difference between the lengths of the two lines. With the calculation, first you need to know that when you're trying to find the upper bound in difference, you subtract the lower bound from the upper bound. You don't subtract upper bound from upper bound. It's always the smaller value from the bigger value to find the biggest difference. Because if we were subtracting upper bound from upper bound, that wouldn't give us the biggest difference. So first thing is to remember this rule. So if we divide this into two columns, the 5-cent coins and the 10-cent coins. First, we divide the degree of accuracy by 2. So that's going to be 0.1 divided by 2, which is 0.05 millimeters. Now to find the upper bound, what we will do is we will add our degree of accuracy, our 0.05 value to the original diameter. So 21.2 plus 0.05, that's going to be 21.25 millimeters. Now for the 10-cent coins, since the diameter is less and the number of coins is the same, which means this line would be smaller, which means this would be our lower bound. So degree of accuracy step is still the same, 0.1 divided by 2, because they're nearest to the same thing. So that's going to be 0.05 millimeter. But over here, we will find the lower bound. So 17.9 minus 0.05, which is going to give us 17.85 millimeters. So now what we're going to do is, it says 10 5-cent coins and 10 10-cent coins. So total length of this will be, for the 5-cent coins, that's going to be 10 times 21.25, which is 212.5 millimeters. And total length for the 10-cent coins is going to be 17.85 times 10, which is 178.5 millimeters. So your upper bound of the difference is going to be 212.5 minus 178.5, and that is equal to 34. This is your answer. Question 6 says that reflect triangle A in the line x equals to 1 and label the image B. So if we reflect it in the line x equals to 1, this point is 3 units away from this. So this will also be 3 units away over here. This will come over here and 3 over here. So it's basically a mirror image. Just make sure that your points are equidistant from the line of reflection for both the images. So this is B. Triangle A is mapped onto triangle D by a combination of two transformations. Triangle A is first mapped onto triangle C by transformation Y. And then triangle C is then mapped onto triangle D by transition of 6, 1. Describe fully the transformation Y. So A is mapped onto C first. That is a 90-degree rotation in anti-clockwise direction. Because as you can see, the direction of triangle D is different now. And your center of rotation would be 0, because if we move this, the translation vector was 6, 1, right? So if we move it back 6 units, so 1, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So this will come over here and 1 unit up. One unit down, sorry. So this will be over here. So basically our triangle C is going to be this. We do the opposite to find triangle C. The translation vector from C to D was 6, 1. So from D to C would be negative 6 and 1. So I move 6 units towards the left-hand side and 1 unit down. If we compare A and C, now we can see that there's an anti-clockwise 90-degree rotation. And the center is 0, 0. Why? Because the distance of this point from this point is exactly the same. 2 units horizontally, 2 vertically, 2 horizontally, 2 vertically. So center is 0, 0, and it's a 90-degree anti-clockwise rotation. Question 7 says ABCD is a floor plan of an exhibition hall with dimensions shown in meters. Points A, B, C, and D lie on the same plane. Calculate angle BCD. That's basically this angle. So what we can do is we can connect point B and D. And once we connect point B and D, we can see that we have a triangle BCD. And in this triangle, we have two lengths over here. We don't have an angle. But in triangle ABD, it's a right angle triangle, which means we can use Pythagoras to find the length of BD. So BD square is going to be AB square plus AD square, which is going to be 95 square plus 160 square, 34,625. We square root both sides, and that's going to give us 186.08 meters. Now what we do is we find the angle C. So to find angle C, we can see that we have a non-right angle triangle and we have all three lengths given, but no angle. So this meets the condition for cosine rule. In cosine rule, either you need two lengths and the angle between them, or you need all three lengths. Since all three lengths are given, we can easily find angle C. Our formula will be cos of angle C equals to BC square plus CD square BD square divided by 2 times BC times CD. So that's going to be 107 square plus 165 square minus 186.08 0.08 square divided by 2 times 107 times 165. 0.11464. So this is the value of cos of C. So C would be cos inverse of this. Cos inverse of this, and that's going to give us 83.4 degrees. So that is your angle BCD. Then a light is attached to the ceiling vertically above B. The angle of elevation of the light from C is 8.2 degrees. Calculate the angle of elevation of the light from A. So the light is vertically attached above B. So to calculate the angle of elevation from the light pole that is vertically attached to B, this is a 90-degree angle over here. So we connect this to point C and this to point A. So we know that the angle of, let me put this point T. So angle of elevation of the light pole from C is 8.2, which is this. Since it's vertically attached to B, this is going to be 90, this is going to be 90 as well. So what we can do is we can begin with finding the value of BT, which I'm assigning as X. Since it's a 90-degree angle, so we can use the trig ratios. We have the adjacent, we need to find the opposite. So tan of 8.2 equals to X over 107. 107 times tan of 8.2, and that's going to give us 15.42. That is X. So now we need to find the angle of elevation that A is making with the light pole, which is this angle. So we have the value of X, we have the length, so we can use tan again. Tan of angle A equals to 15.42 over 95. So angle A would be tan inverse of 15.42 over 95. That's going to give us 9.2 degrees. That is your angle of elevation of A from the light pole. Then simplify the following algebraic expression. So we collect the like terms. So 6V minus V and negative 3W minus 5W, which is going to be 5V minus 8W. Then it says solve the equation. So 5x minus 7 equals to 10. Move 7 to the other side. So that's going to be 5x equals to 10 plus 7 now. Whenever you move a term from one side to the other, the sign changes. So 5x equals to 17. Divide both sides by 5. So x equals to 17 over 5, which in mixed numbers can be 3 whole number, 2 over 5. Simplify. So we're multiplying a with a square. So that's going to be a to the power of 1 times a to the power of 1 times a to the power of 2. Just a to the power of 1 plus 1 plus 2, a to the power of 4. Whenever we have similar bases being multiplied, we add the powers, which is one of the rules of indices. B cubed divided by B5 would be B to the power of 3 minus 5, which is B to the power of negative 2, which can be rewritten as 1 over B squared. Whenever we have similar bases being divided, we subtract the powers. Then we have an equation r equals to 4p minus 3t. They want us to find the value of r when p equals to 7 and t equals to negative 5. That's going to be r equals to 4 times 7 minus 3 times negative 5, which is 28 plus 15. And that's going to equal to 43. Then rearrange the formula to make P the subject. So R equals to 4P minus 3T. We first bring 3T to the other side, so it's going to be R plus 3T equals to 4P. Then we divide both sides by 4. So R plus 3T over 4 equals to P. Solve the quadratic equation. Since it says give your answer correct with 3 significant figures, so that means just directly use the quadratic formula. X equals to negative B plus minus square root of B square minus 4AC over 2A. A is the coefficient of x squared, which is 5. B is the coefficient of x, which is 3. And C is a constant, which is negative 6. So minus 3 plus minus square root of 3 squared minus 4 times 5 times negative 6 over 2 times 5. Which is going to be negative 3 plus minus square root of 129 over 10. So square root of 129 is 11.36 over 10. So one value of x is going to be negative 3 plus 11.36 over 10. And the other would be negative 3 minus 11.36 over 10. So if we solve these, we get 0.836, correct to 3 significant figures. And for the other one, negative 1.44, correct to 3 significant figures. Question 9 says the diagram shows a wooden bowl. It is made in the shape of a large hemisphere with a small hemisphere removed from the center. The diameter of the large hemisphere is 20 centimeters. The width of the rim of the bowl is 2 centimeters. Show that the total surface area of the bowl is 364 pi centimeter square. The surface area of a sphere is basically 4 pi r squared. So for a hemisphere, it's going to be divided by 2. So that's 2 pi r squared. So if we find the surface area of the large hemisphere, call it LH, surface area. So that's going to be 2 pi times 10 squared, because radius is going to be 10 for the large hemisphere. So that's going to be 200 pi. Then for the small hemisphere, if we need to find the surface area of that, we know this total is 10. This is 2, so the radius is going to be 8 for the small hemisphere. So that's going to be 2 pi times 8 square, which is going to be 64 times 2, which is 128 pi. Now for the rim of the wooden bowl, area of the rim, we will do pi r square minus pi small r square, which means pi 10 square minus pi 8 square. That's 100 pi minus 64 pi, which is 36 pi. Total surface area is going to be 200 pi plus 128 pi plus 36 pi, which is 364 pi as given in the question. So you begin with finding your surface area of the large hemisphere, then the small hemisphere. Then for the rim, you look at the circular faces. So you subtract both the circles and you get the area of the wooden rim. Next question says that the bowl is made from wood. The mass of 1 centimeter cube of the wood is 0.74 grams. Calculate the mass of the bowl. So what we do is we need to find the volume of the wooden bowl. Volume of a hemisphere is 2/3 pi r cube. If you remember the shape, There's a small hemisphere and then there's a large hemisphere. So for the large hemisphere, the radius was 10, and for the small hemisphere, the radius is 8. So we'll do 2 over 3 pi 10 cubed for the large hemisphere, just 2094.39. For the small hemisphere, we'll do 2 over 3 pi 8 cubed, just 1072.33 centimeter cube. So now to find the volume of the wooden bowl, we will subtract the two values. That's going to be 2094.39 minus 1072.33, and that's going to give us 1022.06 centimeter cube. So the question is asking us to find the mass of the bowl. If 1 centimeter cube equals to 0.74 grams, so for 1022.06 would be 1022.06 times 0.74, which is equal to 76.3 grams. That is your mass of the bowl. Another bowl is mathematically similar to the first bowl and is made from the same type of wood. The total surface area of the second bowl is 546 pi centimeter square. Calculate the mass of the second bowl. If the first bowl is mathematically similar to the second bowl, that means first bowl will have the radius of capital R, and the second bowl will have the radius of small r. So capital R over small r whole square equals to area of first bowl divided by the area of second bowl. This is a condition for similar shapes. The square of the ratio of the length of the shapes equal to the ratio of their areas. So first bowl had a radius of 10, so 10 over small r equals to area of the first bowl, which was given as 364 pi. Second bowl is 546 pi. This is whole square. So that's going to be 100 over r squared equals to, pi's get cancelled out. So 364 divided by 546, which is 0.6 recurring. So 100 divided by 0.6 recurring equals to r square, which is 150.015. Square root that. So that's going to give us 12.25 centimeters as the value of your radius of the second bowl. Equation for the volume. So capital R over R whole cube now is going to be volume of the first bowl divided by volume of the second bowl. When it's the surface area, you square the ratio of the lengths. When it's volume, you cube the ratio of lengths. It's going to be 10 over 12.25 cube equals to, now volume of the first bowl was found to be 756.2 divided by this volume of the second bowl. So if we solve that, 10 divided by 12.25, and then you cube that, so that's 0.5439 equals to this. So second volume is going to be 756.2 divided by 0.5439, and that is going to give us 1390.3 centimeter cube. So since we're trying to find the mass of the second bowl, we remember 1 centimeter cube equals to 0.74 grams, which was given in the last part. So we will multiply 0.74 with the volume. So mass is going to be 0.74 times 1390.3 1028 grams. So that is your mass of the second bowl. Question 10 says A, B, C, and D are points on a circle. AC is the diameter of the circle. Angle ACD equals to CAB, which is 40 degrees. Show that the triangle ABC is congruent to triangle CDA. So they're saying this is congruent to this. So we already know that these two angles are equal. And since AC is the diameter, that means angle B and angle B are going to be 90 degrees. Because angles in a semicircle, when touching the circumference, are equal to 90. So if these two angles are equal, automatically the third angle is also going to be same. Because you know, sum of angles of a triangle equals to 180. Angle DAC would equal to 180 minus 90 minus 40, which is 50. And similarly, angle BCA would also be 180 minus 90 minus 40, which is 50. As you can see, all the angles are same for both the triangles. As we can see, all the angles are equal and they share a common length of AC. Since they share a common length of AC and we know that 90 degree is for angle D and 90 degrees for angle B. And angles C and A are already given. So the congruency test that we can apply over here is angle side. Explain why ABCD is a rectangle. ABCD is a rectangle because opposite angles that we found were 90, D and B. These are 90, and we found these angles to be 50. So 50 plus 40 also adds up to 90. So in a rectangle, all four angles are 90 degrees. So this shows that this is a rectangle. And also in a rectangle, your opposite sides are parallel. And these two lengths are perpendicular. So AB, CD. AB is parallel to DC. And AD is perpendicular to DC. Similarly, AB is perpendicular to CB. So this meets the condition for a rectangle. The next part says that E, F, G, H are points on a circle with center O and radius 6 centimeters. EHO is given as 30 and EFG is 116. Calculate the shaded area. So what we can do is we can begin with finding the total angle over here because EFGH is a cyclic quadrilateral. And a cyclic quadrilateral opposite angles equal to 180. So angle EHG would be 180 minus 116, which is basically equal to 64. Which means this total angle is 64. So that means angle OHG would be 64 minus 30, which is 34. So this part here is 34. Now, since OH equals to OG, because they're basically the radius of the circle, that means this would also be 34. And triangle OGH is an isosceles. So now we can find the third angle, angle O over here. So angle HOG would be 180 minus 34 minus 34, 112. So this over here is 112. Okay. So now that we have our angle figured out, we can find the area of the sector OGH. Area of sector OGH, which will be 112 over 360 times pi. As you can see, the value of R is 6 centimeters. So this is 6 and this is 6. So we can replace R with 6 squared. So now area of this sector is going to be 112 divided by 360 times pi times 36, which is 35.18 centimeters square. Now we find the area of the triangle OGH, which would be 1 over 2 times 6 times 6 times sine of 112. The reason why using this formula is because when we have a non-right angle triangle and they've given us two lengths and the angle between them, so this formula is applicable over there. So 1 over 2 times 6 times 6 times sine of 112, that is 16.69. So to find the area of the shaded region, we'll find the difference of 35.18 and 16.69, which will give us 18.49 centimeters square as our area.